They told me my partner shouldn't join us for Christmas dinner, saying it might spark too many questions. He uses a wheelchair. I chose to stay home with him. The next day, my retaliation was unavoidable. They'd asked me to leave my partner behind for Christmas dinner solely because he uses a wheelchair. That was their only reason. At first, I thought I'd misread the text. It came from my mom on a Wednesday afternoon, written as casually as if she were commenting on the forecast. She said they were thrilled for the holidays and would love for me to come, but perhaps it was better if Liam didn't join this time. Then came the line that set my blood on fire. It's not about him personally. It's just that people might ask questions, and we don't want anyone to feel uneasy. I had to sit down. Liam and I had been together for just over a year. He wasn't some passing romance. He was the man I was planning a future with, a brilliant coder who worked harder than anyone I knew. The kind of person who listens more than he speaks and always knows how to ground me when everything feels chaotic. He also happens to be paralyzed from the waist down. And apparently, in my family's eyes, that was enough to make him unwelcome at their table. What shocked me most wasn't even the words themselves. It was how casually she wrote them, like I was supposed to nod along and thank her for the heads up. As if excluding someone I love from a family gathering was a perfectly reasonable request. We'd spent the entire year trying to connect with my family. Liam had gone above and beyond for them, quietly covering their expenses. When their stove broke, he paid for a new one. When my dad's hours were cut, Liam offered to help with rent. He never made a fuss about it. He didn't want recognition. It was just his way of showing he was committed, that he cared about me and, by extension, the people I came from. And this was their response. I showed him the text. He just gave a small nod. Said we could stay home, no problem. I could tell he meant it or tried to. But I also saw the way he shrank inward after reading it, like a heavy weight had settled on him. I didn't push him. We made a quiet dinner at home, watched a holiday movie and sipped wine. I tried to act like it was enough, but it wasn't. The next morning, I opened the budgeting app on his tablet, the one we used to track shared costs, and saw the payments lined up for the 27th. My parents' phone bill, their car payment, a remaining balance for the new stove, a recurring transfer of $250 labeled rent help. He was still supporting them after that text. After everything, I didn't think twice. I started canceling, one by one, unsubscribed from their bills, flagged the upcoming transfer as disputed, called the bank and halted any future automatic payments tied to their names. Liam didn't notice until later. When I told him, he looked uneasy, said he didn't want to make things harder between me and my family. That maybe they just didn't know how to handle things, that they might need time, but they'd had time. And they used it to draw a line between acceptable and different, between family and inconvenience. And I was done pretending I didn't see it. They'd leaned on his generosity like a crutch, then pushed him away the moment it didn't suit their comfort. They were about to learn what happens when you destroy the bridge someone built for you. And this was just the beginning. It didn't even take a day. By noon the next day, my mom was calling, missed call, then another, then a third. I didn't answer. Liam was beside me on the couch, drinking coffee like nothing had changed, but everything had. A few hours later, a text from my dad came through. Is something wrong with the bill? The internet's out. Can you ask Liam if there's an issue? No issue. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat there, thinking about how quickly they noticed when the money stopped. Not when the wheelchair left their sight. Not when their daughter skipped Christmas for the first time ever. Only when the cash dried up. By evening, they showed up. I heard the car before the knock. Liam looked at me. I told him to stay put. My parents walked in like they belonged. No greeting. No how's it going. No apology. My dad got straight to it. Said something was wrong with their payments. Asked if Liam was having tech problems, like he was just their IT support, not the person they'd refused a seat at their table 2 days ago. I let them talk, watched them act calm while they panicked. My mom tried to smooth it over with a smile, said it might be a misunderstanding, that they didn't mean to hurt anyone. Liam stayed silent. He looked like he wanted to vanish. I knew that look. I knew he hated conflict, especially when it involved me and my family. But I didn't let them off the hook. I laid it all out. That I'd seen the payments, that I'd stopped them, that they had no right to expect help from someone they couldn't even treat as family. My mom's face shifted fast, My dad asked if I was serious. I told them to leave. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't repeat myself. They left, angry, confused, maybe for the first time realizing I wasn't going to play their game anymore. Liam looked at me afterward and said he didn't want to be the reason I lost my parents. I told him he wasn't. They'd made that choice themselves the moment they treated him like a problem. But I wasn't finished, not even close. That night I called my cousin Ethan, told him everything. Emma too. They were stunned, not just by the money but by how far my parents had gone. They said they always admired Liam, always respected him, said I was right to stand up. Then Ethan said something that hit hard. They didn't just disrespect him, they used him. That's deception, Olivia. If the money was given under the pretense of being family, that's manipulation. He was right. It hadn't started as revenge. But it was going to end like it. Because there was one thing they didn't know. Liam had given the $5,000 they'd taken as a formal gift in a message. But there was no signed contract, no legal agreement. And I had every right to challenge it. So I made one more call that night, to a lawyer. And things were about to get serious. The lawyer's name was Sophia, a friend of Emma's who handled civil disputes and small claims. I told her everything. The gifts, the payments, the exclusion, the sudden panic when the support stopped. She didn't hesitate. If the money was given without a signed agreement and under false pretenses, we can pursue it. $5,000 isn't much in the big picture, but the principle matters. It wasn't about destroying them. I just wanted the line drawn. Firmly. Permanently. The letter went out on New Year's Eve. Happy holidays. A formal demand for repayment of the $5,000 Liam had transferred over the year. Citing manipulation, emotional distress, and abuse of trust. A full account of the situation. And a warning, pay up or we go to court. They didn't reply, not at first, but word spread quickly. Mark called me 2 days into January. He was furious, not at me, at them. He had no idea Liam was helping our parents. No one really did. My cousins were shocked. Everyone knew our parents could be self-centered, but this was a new low. People started taking sides, but it wasn't divided. Everyone, except them, stood with us. On the 6th day, my parents finally called. First, my mom, crying, acting like she couldn't believe I'd do this to family. Then my dad, threatening to get a lawyer too. So I handed the phone to Liam. I didn't know what he'd say. I'd never seen him like that before. Calm, steady, completely over it. He told them they'd taken from him in every way. His time, his trust, his money. Then treated him like he was an embarrassment. He said the lawsuit wasn't about the money, it was about principle. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't repeat himself. When he hung up, he looked a little shaken. But more than that, he looked free. I kissed his cheek and said this was just the start of us doing things our way. A few weeks later, they tried to fight it in court. Claimed it was a gift, but Sophia was meticulous. She brought up the texts, the Christmas exclusion, the sudden halt of payments. She showed the court how their entire relationship with Liam was transactional, until they got what they wanted and discarded him. We won. The judge ordered them to repay the full $5,000. They were stunned. I think it broke something in them, not the money, but the realization that we didn't need them anymore. That we'd drawn the line and stood by it. Liam cried in the car, quietly, just a few tears. Then he laughed. He said he never thought someone would stand up for him like that. I told him that's what love is. That's what real family does. And from that day forward, my parents were out of our lives. Not a pause, not a break, but everyone else. Closer than ever. Cousins, friends, even neighbors reached out to say they were proud of us. That they respected us more now. That Liam was, and always had been, part of this family. Turns out, the only ones who didn't see it were the ones who didn't deserve to. It's strange how quickly everything shifted after the court ruling. My phone didn't stop ringing for days. Cousins I hadn't talked to in months were calling. People I only saw at reunions or family events now reaching out to say they had no idea what my parents had done. And everyone had the same tone. Not pity, not gossip, respect. Emma and Ethan invited us over for dinner 2 days after the ruling. When we got there, it wasn't just them. Mark showed up too with his partner, and their small gathering turned into something I hadn't expected. A family dinner. One where Liam was the heart of it. Mark told Liam, straight up, that he admired him. Said he'd watched how Liam handled everything with patience and dignity, and it made him rethink his own life. Ethan gave him a high five and said if he ever needed a seat at Thanksgiving, he had one for life. Emma hugged him and held on a little longer. And Liam, who'd been so quiet for most of the past month, just kept saying thank you. Not like someone seeking approval, but like someone who didn't know people could care this much, this openly. That night, on the drive home, he said he finally understood what I meant when I told him he was never the issue. He said, I thought I was just getting by. You showed me I deserve more than that. There was something new in his voice, something solid, maybe confidence, or just peace. We heard less and less from my parents after the case. I think losing in court humiliated them more than anything else. I heard through Mark that they told a few people the lawsuit was just about money and that I'd always been dramatic. But it didn't matter. No one bought it. Not after everything. We got a handwritten letter a few weeks later. My mom's handwriting, no return address. She wrote that she hoped we could talk again someday, that she missed me. That families fight, but blood is blood. I threw it away. Blood might be blood, but loyalty, respect, love, that's earned. We spent the next month in calm. No texts, no drama, just us finally in a space where everything felt secure. I watched Liam work on a new app idea, something for accessibility in tech. And he was alive in a way I hadn't seen before, like something had unlocked in him. The people who mattered stayed close. My family, the real kind, Emma, Ethan, Mark, they made room for him, for us. And slowly, Liam stopped bracing himself around people. He stopped waiting for the door to shut again. And I realized something too. Sometimes revenge isn't loud and dramatic. Sometimes it's a courtroom. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's letting people feel what absence truly means. And sometimes, the best revenge is walking away and letting them see you never needed them to begin with. Mid-February, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick up. It was my mom. She was calling from a different phone, probably thinking I'd blocked her number. She asked if we could talk. Said it wouldn't take long. I gave her 3 minutes. She got to the point fast. My dad had lost his job. Money was tight again. She didn't ask directly, but I knew what she was after. She was testing me, seeing if I'd softened. Maybe hoping we'd act like nothing happened, and Liam would step back and like he always did. I asked if she understood why we went to court. She said yes, but thought it was unnecessary. That family should handle things privately. That we made it bigger than it needed to be. That was enough. I told her there wouldn't be another chance. That she'd shown us exactly who she was. That Liam wasn't her fallback plan, her silent donor, her hidden son-in-law she could erase when it didn't fit her image. He was my partner, my future, and they were no longer part of either. She said something about love, about forgiveness. I hung up. That same week, Liam launched the beta for his new project, a platform for accessible tech reviews built by disabled developers and users. He called it Equal Access. It took off faster than we expected. A few bloggers picked it up, and suddenly people were emailing him from all over. Partnerships, speaking offers, collaborations. He'd never looked more alive. He got invited to speak at a tech conference in March. Emma and I went with him. I watched him on stage, talking about barriers, inclusion, and what it means to create something that doesn't just include people but prioritizes them. The applause afterward was deafening. I saw something change in him that night. It wasn't about being accepted anymore. It was about leading. When we got home, there was another letter waiting. My dad this time, no apology. Just a note that family is messy and they missed us. I didn't show it to Liam. I just tossed it in the trash. They missed the old Liam, the one who didn't ask for anything, the one who helped without expecting anything back. That version of him was gone. This new one, he didn't bend, he built. Spring came quickly, and with it something unexpected. An invitation, not from my parents, from Aunt Clara. It was for a family reunion barbecue in May, hosted at her place near the lake. She wrote that she wanted us there. Both of us. No vagueness, no hint of obligation, just sincerity. Emma and Ethan were going, Mark too. And I guess word had spread about what happened because the invite had a handwritten note at the bottom. Tell Liam we'd be honored to have him. I stared at it for a while. Liam was unsure, I could tell. Even after everything, the idea of walking into a group of people tied to the ones who hurt him made him hesitate. But in the end, he agreed. We went. The moment we stepped into the backyard, something strange happened. People clapped. Not polite clapping. Real, loud applause. Ethan shouted, "There they are." And Emma handed Liam a plate of wings like it was the most natural thing. My Uncle Tom pulled him aside and said, "You've got courage, kid. Wish I had half of yours." It was unreal. Liam kept looking at me like he wasn't sure if it was real. But it was. Even the people I barely knew, distant cousins, old neighbors, extended family, came up to shake his hand, to say they followed his project, that they heard what my parents did.